There we go. I forgot to switch my audio on. So, hello folks. Welcome back to the stream. I had a little break last week and didn't stream anything because I was doing other things and I didn't feel like it. But we're back because I need to do some things. I have a lot of unfinished projects and hi Emma. Yeah, having some company while you're doing it always helps. Like this is my productivity meeting with you guys. So basically, there's a number of things that I don't think I can do all of them in this stream, but I'm gonna try. I have some pants there. A button fell off, but not in the way you think. Like it wasn't the threads that came out, it was actually the fabric that just pulled out of it. So there's a hole that I need to fix before I can reattach the button. And then I also have, still unfinished, my waistcoat from, I don't know, several months ago. I'm just struggling to get the collar on correctly, and I sort of, threw it aside. And then I also still have the Pintuck shirt. That's also unfinished. So I don't think I'm going to finish everything today, but I'm going to make at least a nice start, So I'm just going to do this one first because I think it's the shortest and it'll make me feel good. This button fell off like a year ago. And as you can see, the threads are actually still in the button. And what happened is that there is now a little hole in the fabric where the button used to be. It just pulled out. So it's clearly the fabric is just not strong enough to deal with it. I don't think I made mistakes in terms of stitching it too much in one single place. I think it was a fairly nice wide button stitch. Let me check what it... I wanted to check what I did on the other button and that one just flew off. But this one did come off, like with the threads worn through apparently. Okay, did not expect. I guess I'm reattaching two buttons today. But it looks like I did a reasonable job attaching these. But the fabric is just, I guess, a bit easy to like wear and tear. It's quite sort of loosely woven. So I'm gonna just reinforce the spots where these need to be attached because these buttonholes are on flaps. You can't really change the position of the button, so I have to deal with the weakness of the fabric somehow. So I think I'm just gonna take a couple of small pieces of coutil, as it's like the most densely woven shit I have, and just attach it to the inside somehow. I think I can do some ugly things to reinforce it because it's going to be behind the flap anyway. So if I have to stitch through it in like a square shape or something, that's fine. So let's see if I got some like coutil scraps that I can use for this. This is my box of like probably usable scraps of things. Oh, here's some of the original fabric that made up the jeans. Why not? It doesn't look like I have any coutil scraps in here though. So we'll just have to... There's probably some like weird corners on a piece that I have that I can cut off. Let's see. This is not quite coutil, but it's a very densely woven herringbone fabric that I used in the same kind of roll. That might do. It's also a bit softer and not as stiffened, so it might actually be a nice one. Oh, and here is something that is definitely not enough to be making a corset out of. So I think I'll just cut some. Yeah, I'll take these flappy boys that I never cut off. Let's do it. And this goes back into the stash. So I guess while I'm at it, I'm just going to reinforce both of the pockets. These scraps here should be big enough. I think I'm gonna start by putting some, by like ironing it in with some Fleecofix. Oh yeah, it's definitely an IKEA box. Well spotted. It's kind of an old one too. I tried to find another one of those. Where did I just put it? Yeah. Like I have two of these, and I wanted like two more, but they didn't have them. They had them with this pattern, but not in this size anymore. It's kind of weird. But oh well. So I'm just gonna put some Fleecofix, I think, on this and iron it to the inside of the pocket. And then probably stitch through it for some extra, like to make sure that that doesn't come apart. I just need to get like a good shape. Maybe I'll make sort of an oval that reaches to the edge of the pocket so that it's nice and centered on this spot. Something like, I don't know. I feel like I need to make this nice now. I thought I was just gonna slap it together, but now I feel like it needs to be nice. First, let's cut it so it's actually one grain. And then do something like where's the hole now? Here. Something like that as a shape. I'm gonna just fold this in half so I cut it symmetrically. I don't think I need to do much about finishing the edge of the fabric as it doesn't fray very much to begin with. So I'm just gonna YOLO that aspect of it. It's gonna be sitting on the inside of the pocket anyway. So now I got this sort of half moon shape that I think should do nicely. I'm just gonna cut the same thing out of this second scrap. Alright. And now I just need some sticky stuff. Where did I put my Fleecofix? Here we go. In case you don't know, like I've been saying Fleecofix, I think it's called Bondaweb or something in other parts of the world and other brands, I suppose. It's like iron in interfacing, except there's only the glue part and none of the fabric part. I got it just a little bit too small. Oh wait, if I flip it over. Okay, I suck. I thought I could eyeball having enough for 2 of them, but nah. It's very close though. I think I can get away with it. More pizza bread? What is happening? Ooh, it sounds good. I wouldn't associate hummus with pizza, but everything else I'm totally up for. Alright, so now I'm going to iron these 2 pieces first to the scraps and then to the inside of the pockets. Let's see if I can do it on the table so you can, like, you don't have to look at my back while I'm doing it. I know I had some fabric that I used as a kind of ironing board. Let's do this. You lost your wallet last week? You couldn't go grocery shopping? Oh god! Did you starve? What did you do? Okay, this light under the desk is a bit much, actually. So now I just gotta make sure that I actually iron the correct side to the, like, that I don't end up sticking it to my iron. Okay, so I'm gonna just let that cool for a little bit. Maybe rub it on the table to cool it off. Alright, now I should be able to peel the paper off, hopefully. Hey Yukimiko, welcome back. We're discussing repairs and pizza. Fair enough. Like, a bit of fusion cuisine is not a bad thing. So now let's see if I can iron these patches into the pockets. Please be nice and flat. Just, yeah, that's nicely in the middle. I like that. And this is probably gonna need to be ironed for a bit longer because the heat needs to go all the way through the fabric to get to the glue. Hey Kat, welcome back. I am also glad to be back this week, though, to be honest, my little break last week was also a welcome thing. But yeah, back to productivity. In your book, A Starving Pack of Wolves Just Attacked Your Traveling Group. Oh no! What book are you reading? Okay. Let's see. Seems solid. I'm also going to be stitching through it for a bit, I think, to make sure that it doesn't come out, but so far, no complaints. Starving is not an option. Yeah! Let's see. Let's try to get it the same on both sides. Oh, so you're writing the book. I thought you were reading a book, but you're writing it. Yeah, that didn't stick quite as much as it should. Yeah, go put some pockets in a skirt. Pockets are the best. I've been I'm normally a pants kind of person, but I've been considering making some, like, skirts that are more me. I was gonna say business skirts, but that sort of implies pencil skirts, which are not my thing. I was thinking slightly longer, kind of like, I don't know, maybe Victorian walking skirts or something. Not quite to the floor, but longer than knee length. Just something that looks, I don't know, a bit classy and timeless. So, let's mark where these buttons should be. Which, oh, by the by, normally you would put buttons at like the end of the buttonhole, but since these are mostly decorative flaps, the button is actually going to sit in the middle. Because otherwise you can't actually close it. Yeah, I can't even see where that mark is because it's right in the middle of where the original hole in the fabric was. Alright. We're good. Let's unplug the iron for a sec. You found out a couple of days ago that there's a second book of the Dragon Rider. Oh, I haven't read any of that, but it sounds cool. Alright. So I think that the most important thing is that the whole flap can distribute the tension along more of the pocket. Let me just mark how far down the flap goes so I know where not to stitch. Wow, that barely marked anything. Come on, chalk pencil, you can do it. Alright. And the edges of the flap are there and there. I think I'm just also going to stitch some like half moon thing sort of along the edges of the patches. I'm just not sure how well I can wrestle this under the machine. Because, wait, how am I going to do that? Because there's like pants underneath this. If I put it under the machine like this, obviously it's going to stitch the pocket shut, so that's not a thing. The foot has to go in here somewhere. Except there's pants here. I don't have much wiggle room to do anything. And if I would put it upside down, then you could sort of stitch through, but then I can't see what the heck I'm doing. Is this going to have to be hand stitched? Or maybe I can do a machine stitch just along the top edge or something. Yeah. I don't like this. And I'm definitely not taking the whole pocket off for this, just know. I'm gonna just see how well I can get it wrestled under the foot. Let's evacuate my tea before I spill it on everything. guess this way you can sort of see what I'm doing. I'm just sort of upside down wrestling the pocket underneath the machine, and I think this works reasonably well. I could do at least a line of stitches along the edge this way. But if you want to go any deeper into the pocket, it gets extremely awkward. I guess the stitching along the top is good enough. Like, the thing I don't want happening is that the button comes out again. And if the button is pulling on the middle of the patch and the glue that's holding the patch on fails and the patch sort of comes loose, then the only thing I need to happen is for the patch not to get totally pulled out of the pocket, which I think the stitching along the top accomplishes. Let's just do it. Why not? Oh, this needle might be a bit thin for what I'm about to do, I guess. What is this? What are you? No! No hand sewing! Definitely not hand sewing. This was supposed to be a quick repair, not a whole, like, craft project. I can't tell. It's hard to make it catch the light that I can actually... it's a 70? Yeah, let's swap that out for something a bit more bulky. Because they're jeans, let's bring on the jeans needles. Because we can. You made some alterations on a cargo pocket? Well, I mean, good for you. And sometimes hand sewing is the easiest, like... Yeah, it is true. Like, I don't want to fully hate on hand sewing. I know that sometimes you just have to because the machine is just not going to do what you want to happen. So, you know, respect for hand sewing. But where I can avoid it, I do. I just really don't like it. So let's put on one of those like triple stitch thingies. Let's go. Ovens do tend to work a bit better if you turn the heat on. Though, like, if you've just got a little light on, it does give off a little bit of heat. So, you know, your oven is not entirely lost if you don't switch it on. It's just going to take a long time for your cheese to melt. Okay. That looks not perfect, but totally reasonable. It's covered by the flap anyway. Let's do the other one as well. Why are you making the scratchy noise? Don't. It's making weird... please don't make noises. That sounds a bit better when it picks up a little bit of speed. What is that rattling noise? Seriously. Is it just a spool? No. I don't like this. Okay. Good enough for me. Your husband is making taco dinner. Sweet. Okay. I think this is good enough for sort of reinforcing the strength of the pocket. Now, I guess I'm gonna hand stitch the buttons back on. Where is my thimble, actually? I haven't seen it in ages. Uh-oh. Please don't be missing. Ah! Yes. Still got it. And also, gotta rip the threads out of the button. By the way, I always use a double thread to stitch buttons in because you just get more strength for the same amount of effort. I know there's also people just using many stitches with a single thread. I'm not sure if there are advantages to it, so if you know of any, I would like to know. I have no idea if this is lined up. Where am I? Oh no, that actually looks reasonable. I guess it's kind of hard for the camera to show sort of black on black on black. But I swear I'm putting the button on. I guess maybe it helps if I kill this light. That's a bit more contrast. I hate how buttons always get like twisted on the first couple of stitches. Now the other pair of holes. There we go. Don't you love it when you blindly poke the needle through and without any effort you make it through the button on the other side? It's great. Uh-oh. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Rethreading is like the sewing machine equivalent of turning it off and on again. It's like, something's wrong, I'm not sure what, I'm not sure how this happened, it shouldn't have happened, but here we are, let's just try it. Let's tie some knots. Yeah, cleaning's always good. Like, I have a little brush in the accessories compartment of my sewing machine. And just, when I change the bobbin or something, I just give it a quick brush. Alright. That's one button back on. It's time for the other one. The buttonhole's a bit tight. Jeez. I mean, these are functional pockets, technically speaking. Like, you can put stuff in them. They're not sewn shut fake, but honestly, I never use them. Because back pockets just make your butt look weird. I don't know. So it's okay if the buttonholes are not that great. Uh-oh. Here, the edge of the patch is already coming loose. So I might need to iron this a bit more than I already have. Maybe I'll just put it face down and iron it from the inside so I can get the heat more directly into the patch instead of having to go through this hemmed part at the top. Here. Bring back the iron. Use a makeup brush. Yeah. Those are the perfect kind of brushes. I think I actually have one that like came with the machine at some point. Where's my brushy? This is my little cleaning brush. It's very dusty, as it should be. Okay, it does get nice and hot. That's good. Okay, that should be it. Then it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of a good point. That if I'd ever use the pockets, I could just sew them. Oops. I could just sew them shut and it wouldn't matter. I don't know. I guess it's just I have an irrational hatred of fake pockets. Because it's just like you put all that effort into something that looks like a pocket but isn't. Why would you do that? I guess I put these pockets in here to begin with because jeans look kind of weird without back pockets. Like they just draw a lot of attention to your butt. and the pockets kind of break it up a bit. Is that... It's sitting a bit weird. Did it get twisted? Oh no, we're still good. Oh, by the way, craft update. I finally got the shipping notification on my Snapmaker 2. So somewhere in the beginning of the pandemic, like in May or something, I pre-ordered a Snapmaker, which is one of those 3D printy, laser engravey, CNC routy, all-in-one devices. Because that seemed cool. And it was supposed to ship in September, but then they had delays. And then it was supposed to ship in October, and then they had delays. Yeah, exactly. I could put something in it, but I won't. So I finally got the shipping notification last week, and it's supposed to get delivered on Monday. Just like, what? Why does it arrive on Monday? I need to do all the things with it, and then I first have to work for a week and can only do stuff in the evenings. What is this? But, you know, at least I'm getting it. So I will be, I don't know, I think I'll start with 3D printing. Seems like the most easy thing, though maybe also some like laser cutting or engraving can be fairly straightforward. I've never done either of those things, but it seems like it would be reasonably easy to figure out. And with the whole CNC thing, I still haven't wrapped my brain around. Like, I've watched a ton of videos and I'm in these like Snapmaker Facebook group thingies. There's a lot of stuff going into it with generating tool paths for multiple bits and blah, blah, blah. I'll figure that out later. Whoops. Boop. And I think that's done. Now I have pockets with buttons. 2 of them. Ta-da! Achievement for the day. Achieved. Everything else is just a bonus from here on out. Next order of business. This thing. Because this is almost finished. Like, obviously I need to pull a whole bunch of marking threads out of this, and it's kind of hell because I stitched right on them because that's what I do. But other than that, I just need to put some buttonholes and buttons on it, and I need to attach the inside of the collar. The outside is already stitched and it looks nice. This is going to be hand stitched because I don't want any of the stitching to show on the other side, and stitching this in the ditch accurately, it's going to be super painful, so hand stitching is going to happen today. But the main thing I was struggling with on this one is tucking in these corners, because you've got the edge of the, I guess the front neckline or whatever, it's curving in, and then it curves fairly smoothly into the collar. So I stopped stitching here so that at least you have the seam allowance on the front piece to attach the collar to. Like, just stopped here and then it flips the seam allowance out. But it is very narrow in this corner. Like this is a very narrow sort of corner, and this is curving outwards. So everything needs to be clipped a lot, but not too much. And I couldn't wrap my brain around doing some origami in this corner that would be not too bulky and stay in place. So let's figure this one out. I think the amount that this has been trimmed back should easily be enough to fit inside the collar comfortably. I'm just more worried about the seam allowances left on the front of the collar. So let's trim that. I don't want to cut too much out of that corner though, because I feel like little frayed ends are going to be sticking out or something. But at the same time, if I fold it up, it just doesn't work. And I have to fold this inwards. I am gonna aggressively clip this, I think. Rawr. That was aggressive, right? I just mean clip it like a lot. But very subtly, because I can't clip it too much. Maybe I could have even stitched it differently and just not even had this kind of issue. All right. I'm gonna try to fold this in place and pin it so it stays there in such a way that the seam allowance from the front is definitely sitting on top of the seam allowance from the collar. Come on. You're gonna fold in like that. This is folded in too much. I should have thought this through before doing this ridiculous idea. Pizza bread is yummy? That's good. That's now you don't have to starve. That's always a plus. It's really bulky in here as well. I feel like I need to get rid of this and grade some of those seam allowances. Yeah, this is not good. God, there's so many seam allowances in here. Because there's the facing and the back piece itself. And the collar from the other side. This is a lot. I mean, the other option for very garlicky things is that you just share it with everyone that you're gonna meet today. And then everyone just smells of garlic and it's totally fine. So there's 3 layers of fabric here, one from the facing, one from the back panel, and one from the front of the collar. So I'm just cutting them all to like 3 different lengths so that it doesn't become this huge chunky edge inside of the collar. Alright, that's a bit better. Yeah, it feels better when you squeeze it too. Okay, so let's get this back into place. Back to origami. What is this shiny stuff that's stuck to the fabric? Did I get some kind of glue or something on it? Maybe some fray check. Oh, but it's coming off. Okay. This corner actually is starting to look kind of good now that I've pinned this corner. Now I just need to fold the top of the fabric. No, 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 no. Go back to where you were. Come on. Yeah, it's like garlic bread is great anti-vampire measures. It's for safety purposes, you know. Come on. I should have done this out of thinner fabric. Why did I do this? I hate myself. Why am I such a sewing masochist? Alright, this bit needs to fold up in here, and clearly the edge is sticking out, so that is gonna go. Now get in there. This is gonna end up being one of those things that has like 20 pins in it, and then you hand stitch it just by madly making stitches through it, hoping that if you remove the pins it stays in place. That's how this is gonna go down. Oh no, it's not. It needs to come up and be squeezed sort of into the collar a bit more, otherwise the edge is not gonna be covered. I feel like maybe I cut too much fabric off now. Ugh. Like it's not coming down as far as it should or something. I think it's just the bulk that is messing with me. please tell me I don't have to make a new collar. I feel like this pointy bit from the top collar is just poking out further than the point of the inner collar. And that's bad. So I guess number one solution is poke it in further. And honestly, looking at this marking thread, that's probably the case. And I need to make more of this corner to just disappear. Just bite. Okay, this gives me some hope. Except now it's not covering the frayed edge of the front piece anymore. Oh, come on. I maybe should have just approached this whole collar differently. Okay, I think this is a good place for it to be. It's the smallest I can make it while still covering the frayed edge of the thing. And now I just need to get a pin in there in such a way that it will stay. Now the back again. No, don't move. I'm trying to keep the seam allowances separated, but they want to clump together. This is a wrestling match with a piece of clothing. I am an idiot. Why did I ever come up with this? Is there a way I can do this with, if I don't try to fold in the corner, but I just fold it over like this instead? It doesn't cover the edge. Of course it doesn't cover the edge. Because you didn't fold it well. I should not cut this bit of fabric off. Okay, I think this is vaguely in the spot where it should be, but it looks bad. It looks so chunky instead of smooth. I feel like I should have... How should I have approached this? So, because what I did is I assembled the whole thing, left some seam allowance sticking off of the collar, and then I assembled the collar itself. Like I did all the edges of the collar, then stitched the front of the collar to the outside of the fabric. And now I'm just trying to fold under the edge of the inside collar. How, if I wanted this to be a nice continuous line, I guess I should have stitched the outside of the collar to the outside of the jacket and the inside of the collar to the facing of the jacket, and then inside out stitch the edge of the collar. Is that what I should have done? It sounds reasonable. Maybe there's some logic flaw there, I'm not sure. If I recall correctly, one of the reasons I did this is because I wanted to do some like weird inside out trick with stitching the shoulder seams. Ugh. Wrapping my brain around this like construction order thing when I thought I could just plop the collar onto the seam allowance sticking out. It's like, ugh. And right now I'm trying to fit the collar over the top of the... Like, the collar is wrapping around the seam allowance for the jacket, but maybe I could have done it the other way around, where I took the collar inside the jacket. And this... Would that have helped? Can I still do that? If I take it off? Because now the seam allowance of the collar is folding back on itself and going up back into the collar. But I could instead do the same thing with, on the other side, where the collar just goes straight into the jacket, and the seam allowance for the jacket itself folds back into itself. Would that help anything? It would definitely be less bulky inside of this corner. I'm not sure if I've trimmed off too much on this side to make it happen though. Let's see if... And I think I might have stitched together the inside and the outside of the jacket in order to make sure they stayed lined up. Yeah, there's currently no way to get inside of here. And the way the collar is stitched on is stitched through all the layers. So I cannot currently tuck the seam allowances inside. But if I take the collar off, I could. How much do I think that's going to help me? Yeah, the step a bit back. I mean, I struggled with this 2 months ago and couldn't figure it out and thought, I'll just figure it out later, which is now. So I feel some drive to figure out how. Because otherwise this is going to be another loose end in 2 months' time. I mean, I did clip into the seam allowances of the jacket in order to make this, like, in this section it's folded back into itself, but in this section it's sticking out that way. So there's a clip that happens here. If I want to change it up, that gets folded inside, but there might be a little bit of fraying on that corner. where it's already taken quite some abuse from me also clipping crap in here quite closely. So it might not fold back particularly nicely, honestly. Maybe I'll just take the collar off and put some fusible interfacing on everything near here so that at least it doesn't fray any further and I can hopefully get like a clean execution of whatever solution I come up with. I think it would make more sense because then all the bulk, instead of having to get folded into this tiny corner, can get folded into there, which there's a lot more space for stuff to happen here. Let's take it off, because clearly I've been struggling doing it this way for way too long, and it's not working. I'm gonna take it off, put some interfacing in there. It's gonna make it even thicker than it already is, but at least it's gonna stop it from like fraying where I've clipped it a little bit close, because I thought that was gonna help. And then try it the other way, because clearly what I'm doing right now isn't working. And I don't know, worst case scenario is that this is that sort of the main body of it is clipped too much and cannot do the seam that I want. Which would mean I could just move the seam over a little bit. I don't think I would need to make a totally new jacket. But it would move the edge a little bit, which might mean I have to make a new collar. That is a lot better than making a new jacket, so maybe there is hope. So basically I'm going to attach it with the same sort of seams, except the seam allowances are going to get folded in the other direction, which should resolve my origami problem. I am noticing some of my marks falling out, so I'll put a couple of them back in. Because now it's extra important that they're there. Because I'm going to have to reattach the collar in the same spot. In like exactly the same spot. Because otherwise all that clipped corner nonsense is gonna totally wreck me. Thanks! I need it. It's one of those things where you thought you could do it, turns out you can't. So reevaluate your life decisions, but also try to work out a way that can still work. Is this coming off in any way? So yeah, unpicking fun. Why not have some unpicking fun? Oops. Just making sure that all my markings are preserved. Where's my seam ripper now? So yeah, while I unpick stuff, I have some plans. Yeah, we do all need the mental support. It's nice to at least, like, honestly, talking through why it's not working and what my options are in order to explain the problem to you also helps me, like, get it straight what exactly my problem is. So, much appreciated. So, plans for the Snapmaker when that happens. I've got some sketches for quite ambitious projects that I'm fairly sure I will not be making right off the bat. Some, like... You know, I like to make sort of responsive electronic circuits, like with the shirt that I have that lights up when you move in it and stuff like that. I thought it would be nice to have some sort of calendar that is like a box that rotates very, very slowly over the year. And there's just like some pointer that points at where we are now. And I want to make it with some lithophanes, which are like, it's a very thin sheet of, well, traditionally stone, but you can 3D print them with white filament that show a picture with the thickness of the material letting more or less light through it, which I think is a really cool way of having a picture. So I've been sketching out like 12 designs for each of the months. That could be lithophanes for my rotating calendar box. And then it would have lights inside that maybe correspond to the season. And then the frame that the lithophanes are sitting in would be laser cut or something like that. Basically, lots of big plans of which, like, it should be possible. I just haven't gone through any of the steps to actually do it ever. So that's going to be a lot of Googling to get all of that to work. Yeah, it does sound fancy, which is why I liked it so much, I guess. But it is, I think, a lot of work of designing, and like I'm not even good at drawing, and I'm trying to make designs on it that, I don't know. Maybe I'll ask someone else to make the drawings for me. There's always something missing to do the other stuff I switched. Yeah. Well, at least you're procrastinating in a very useful way, you know? And you're like, oh, I can't do the thing, but at least I can clean up. It's better than nothing. I need more thread. Oops. Come on, little thread. But I guess when I get my Snapmaker, first I have to build it. Or like assemble it, I guess. It's a better word. And then, you know, do some test calibration models and things. Maybe I'll stream some of it. Like I said, I've not done any of that stuff before. So a lot of it is going to be Googling how to do extremely basic shit. Which is probably not the best stream. But I do think that there are some streamers on Twitch that just have 3D printer cams because it's super satisfying to watch a machine go back and forth for a very long time slowly making something. So maybe when I have some project running, I'll put a webcam on it and stream it because it's super satisfying to watch. Ooh, studying art is something that I sometimes wish I did. I'm reasonable at like drawing shapes in shapes that make sense and look like the thing I'm trying to draw, but stuff like shading and I know nothing about. I guess I'm more of a designer than an artist. Nearly there. All right. So that is a collar. Are we missing any markings? So as you can see, here the edge is just turned in and it's already finished. And here I just have the seam allowance sticking out that I was going to attach the collar onto. But what I now want to do is fold that seam allowance inward and then also shove the collar inward, basically. But it looks like I already stitched together the outside and the inside along that line, so it wouldn't shift. So I'm gonna have to pick that out as well, so I can actually turn it inside. You combine sewing and painting? Ooh. Did you ever, like, literally combine the two, where you did some textile paints on a piece of clothing or something? Let's see if this is actually doing what I think it's doing. Oh yeah, it opens up now. Okay. I mean, I already clipped these seam allowances. This is gonna be so annoying to fold in. God. What did I get myself into? Well, you live and you learn, I suppose. Oops, it looks like some of the markings I reconstructed went through both layers when they shouldn't. Oh well. I cut paintings apart and arrange it. Oh! Oh yeah, I guess because paintings are made on canvas, you can actually sew them. It's not particularly washable though. Alright. That's the collar totally taken apart. So now I guess what I want to do is attach the outside of the collar to the outside, to only the outside of the jacket. Flip all the seam allowances towards the inside, and then fold this inside of the jacket over and hand stitch it down. I think that checks out. Let's try it. Do I need to do anything with this corner that I totally screwed up? This feels like it's already got copious amounts of freight check in it. Maybe a little bit over here would be good. Bring out the freight check. Whoops. One half of the pocket is attached. Well, you know, it's better than nothing. Let's just soak it in freight check. Guess that's how I roll. Alright. Yeah, washing paintings does not seem, Hey Shania, welcome back. Alright, so what was the outside of the collar? Does it matter? Did I... Oh, hey, I should probably grade this as well. Wow, geez, why did I not do that? I don't think there's any difference to the inside and the outside. It's not like I put interfacing in one half and not the other or something. Okay, so this is now going to be the designated outside, which means it's going to get ow! There's some pins in there still. It's going to get attached here, like this, right? Stitchy, stitchy, flippy, flippy. I think that checks out. Do I still have any markings for where the center is? Or the shoulder seam? There's some... Can't blame the cats for everything. I feel like I'm seeing some vague line here, but maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I'm just gonna mark the middle and call it a day. Alright, here's the middle. And on the jacket itself, the middle is here. Okay, let's do this. Like, what makes the black thread the favorite? It seems kind of a weird, specific thing for a cat to prefer. These corners were so nicely pushed out, and then I had to go and ruin it. I mean, that's a distinct possibility. You know that thing when you put something in a place where you know it's going to be difficult to find it later, and you think to yourself, it's probably not smart to put it here, but you do anyway, and then you can't find it, and the only thing you can remember is that it's in a bad place. It's like, I remember putting it somewhere. I remember that it was a bad idea. This definitely needs some... Oh god, this is all mangled. But I think if you tuck it in, you can get away with it. Ugh. God, this is bad. I'm gonna put a little bit of fray check on that. Oh wait. I'm putting pins in my mouth again. I need to find my bracelet pincushion thing. Okay. Let's do this. I'm really trying to get this as close to the edge that I have as possible, but not just short of it, because that would be bad. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it somewhere where I normally wouldn't put it because then I won't lose it. Is also a prime way of losing things. Jeez. It's amazing how our brains work. It's a miracle that we made it this far as a species. Ow! See, it's a miracle that we made it this far as a species. Can't even use pokey things without poking yourself. More fray check, more better. Today you feel set back and overwhelmed with everything. I mean, honestly, seasonal depression is a thing. And even if you don't have full-blown seasonal depression, it's still like when it's darker outside, you get less vitamin D, which is not good for your mood. You know, that is a legit thing that you are experiencing. I try to sort of capitalize on cold and bad weather by seeing it as the perfect excuse to have a lot of hot chocolate. Which helps. Hot chocolate, cookies. Which then makes me feel sort of warm and fuzzy instead of cold and rainy. Alright, I think this is good enough. I feel like it's lining up a bit weirdly here. What is happening? Close enough. Let's get this stitched and hope for the best. Because this is like the last thing I could come up with before chucking this in the garbage. Right now it's just so bad. Oh yeah. Like it's a seasonal depression and then some, basically, that you're getting. So I'm not gonna say I get it, because I can't be in your brain experiencing what you're experiencing, but I think I understand, and you should, like, not be too hard on yourself for it. I guess just take it, one day at a time. Like, so far, you have made it through all the days that you've ever done. So, you can probably make it through another month. Looks like I don't have a bobbin with this thread on it. There's not much of this thread left either. I hope I can make it to the end of the waistcoat before I run out, because it would be sad if I had to stop and order more. Taking long walks? Yeah. Physical exercise is actually known to be good for depression. But going outside feels a bit bad this year. Because outside is where other people are. That was a nice noise. Alright, that's threaded. You've been at home since July? Wow. Yeah, it's kind of like you're dragging yourself through it and then you have no energy left to do like fun things. That is hard. Alright, let's try to stitch this without catching anything that I'm not supposed to catch. Because there's a lot of seam allowance nonsense going on here that is not necessarily gonna make my life easier. Okay, wish me luck. I think that might be a little bit botched at the start because it was kind of hard to get it exactly to the corner. We'll see about that when it's done. Please work. Can't fully follow everything that's going on in the chat, but it looks like people are being really supportive towards each other, and I appreciate that a lot. There is it. Oh. What? Oh, I couldn't find the end of my pin for a second there, but it's still there. We're good. Okay. So, did I screw up at the beginning or not? actually looks quite reasonable. Now let's see if I can tuck the collar into the jacket. I might need to iron this because it's folded. Like I ironed this over. But if we just shove all of this, I would need to iron it flat to the other direction because I think I already ironed it in the one direction when I started doing it the apparently wrong way. But oh. I'm gonna switch on that light again because I think it's getting kind of dark here. But it looks like it's lining up a lot better than it was before. Weird. Let's put the light on the desk instead of under. Check this out. That looks like a very clean corner. I should have done it this way from the beginning. Oh, God. Okay. And this is the corner that, one of these two is the corner that got all chewed up. Yeah. So much better. Okay, I'm gonna just iron everything the right way. And then it looks like found the way out. Thanks, Diana. I mean, I hope that when it's finished and I put it on that it actually looks like what I wanted. Because I put a lot of sweat into this. But hey, it looks like the struggles are over now. And it's just some hand stitching and just some buttonholes and some buttons from here on out. You know, easy peasy. Still a bunch of work, but at least it's not. Let's make that a little bit less bulky. Oh, I should probably make sure that all this garbage that I cut off doesn't fall into the lining. that would... Okay. Everything needs to come out. No bits of garbage floating around once it's all closed up. Alright. I think we're good. I'm glad that I sat down and tackled this. Because this thing was just sitting on a chair waiting for me to figure out how to do this. I'm gonna need some sort of ham, I think, to get this nice. Wait. That's too hot for this fabric. I nearly screwed it up. This fabric, when it gets too hot, it just sort of melts together. Because there is some polyester in there. Like, I put the iron on, and it immediately felt kind of sticky, like there was some resistance, and I was like, no! Okay. Just waiting for the iron to cool down now. I think we're good. That's let's try that again, shall we? On the inside first. Yeah, that is not sticky anymore. That's good. That was a close call. Sometimes I feel like I need some sort of mini iron to get into all these stupid corners. I've seen advertisements for one, but they look kind of dodgy. Yeah, second lockdown is not great. Honestly, I didn't do much in the in-between time either. Just because I was like, well, everywhere you go, you still can't, like, do the things you used to do. And people are not great about keeping their distance. At least not in the Netherlands. Like, there are some people who are pretty good about it and some that just don't seem to care. So it's kind of stressful to go outside. So yeah, video company, where like I can cough all over this webcam and not impact anything. It's pretty good. I've also hosted some like digital parties with my friends. Just to like hang out without having to go anywhere. Hey Nico, welcome to the stream. I'm working on that Darcy waistcoat thing, and I ripped the collar off because the way I was trying to attach it wasn't working. I think the way I'm doing it now is working. So I think I'm just gonna iron this under and hand stitch it down, and that should be it. Maybe. Maybe I should just remove... Actually, I'll tuck the ham in there. Looks like we have a lot of German folks. Okay, I was a bit sloppy about removing the old stitching. I better pull this out. This is not this is not perfectly stitched together. Wow, there's quite a jump there. But that's a mistake I made months ago, and I'm not going back to fix it. Grandfather, it's all like German connections here. Like I'm pretty Dutch, though I guess one of my grandpa's last names. Well, he only had one last name. One of my grandpa's last name was Van Keulen, which means of Cologne. So I suppose that at some point, somewhere, someone in the family was German. Alright. And then that's enough pressing for today. Let's get this thing out of the way. Alright, hand stitching time. Let's go. There. Yeah, exactly, and it's super easy to move between countries these days as well. So. Okay. So how am I gonna approach this hand stitching thing? Because I feel like when I do hand stitching, I always start from the wrong side or something. Because obviously you sew right to left with your right hand. But if I have it like this, and I fold it over, I feel like I want to be stitching not like this, because that's awkwardly going down and into the collar. I probably want to do it like this. Going up into the thicker part, right? Yeah, so I start here. Still having some issues staying down this seam allowance, but I guess once it's stitched down, it can't go anywhere anymore, and we're done. I'm just going to put a couple of pins in it to help keep everything aligned. Wait, this... There were some markings here indicating where the shoulder seam should go, but now it feels like the middle is way too big and it doesn't line up properly. Did it get stretched or something? What is this? This gap. It seems a fine distance from the edge though. What's going on here? Yeah, it doesn't feel like this is stretched too much, but it definitely feels like this is too big. Why is that? I guess I can just sort of space it out a little bit more than it currently is. And then with the hand stitching, I can just smush that extra distance in somewhere without it puckering. They're fine. Let's just YOLO it. Why not? This is definitely the middle that needs to go in the middle. Oh, that's my needle, not a pin. Wow. This seam is already going a bit too far outwards for where it should be. I don't want to move it any more than that. What is going on with this? It's actually not that bad. It's possible to get it flat. He went out grocery shopping yesterday morning because he used to go at midday. Oh yeah. It's like, you try to, like, if everyone thinks I'm gonna go at midday because then it's gonna be quiet, then suddenly midday is the busy time. Okay, I think that that's enough pinning, and I think that I can just go and stitch this on now. Hand stitching, here we go. I'm also just gonna pull all of these marking threads out now before I get them trapped in my stitching. They are all already trapped in stitching I already did. At least I can now see what I'm doing. That's a plus. Wait, a grocery store hat? Oh, cool. That's gonna be a pretty fancy, pretty fancy grocery store hat. Well, I made such a thick knot, and still it just pulls right out of the fabric. What is this nonsense? Come on now. This is just not fair. I tried to start stitching with the knot on the inside, because, you know, it's prettier. It's just gonna pull straight out. Like, what is this? Oh yeah, Many lives don't end up going according to plan, but they are pretty good anyway. I know I changed careers, and I don't regret it. Ooh, I'm totally not a hat person. I wish, like, hats are cool accessories, but they just always look bad on me. I think my head is just not the right shape for them. They always end up looking a bit, I think my skull is like too narrow for them. So it always looks like I'm trying to be silly even when I don't. Ooh, yeah, witch hats. I can get rid of this now. Why is this length of thread hanging out? What is this? Oh, that's just the understitching, I think. Actually, I'm not gonna cut it. I'm gonna pull it inside. You recently made a hat. You never know when to wear it. Yeah, I think hats are sort of underrated these days. Please go in the needle, please. Maybe I should just do this hand stitching while watching some movie or whatever and do something else now. Because this is going to take a while. Then again, work is work. It's got to be done anyway. I plan to stream until about 6, so about 1 more hour, I guess. And then it's time for, like, dinner. These stitches are turning out better than I expected. Like the color match of the thread is not perfect, but it is close. And the way that the fabric is pulling together is making it really difficult to see where they are. I like it. Oh yeah, if you're into vintage, then definitely hats are a huge thing. I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I've got some random garbage, well, okay, food in the fridge. I think I got like a bell pepper, some lettuce, cheese. I still haven't figured out what it's gonna be. Honestly, I also have a pizza in the freezer, so maybe I'll just give myself an easy night. And I don't know, eat the lettuce as a side salad to make it remotely healthy. I've been a bit uninspired about cooking for the past week or so. There are times where I have all kinds of ideas of recipes to try or whatever, but this week is not one of them. Ooh, that sounds good. Can you make me some pasta? Can I sign up for this as a meal delivery? Really high fashion looking? Oh yeah. I'm not a hat person, but there was a time where I really liked fascinators, like all the little whatever mini hats that you can put in your hair sort of. But it's so formal. You just can't wear it all the time. I had some like hairband with like feathers sticking out of it. It was good. Good times. You bought a dark blue and black cape. Ooh. Ah! Halloween is every day. It's never not a cape moment. That's nonsense. Like, who's that song by again? Ministry, I think. Every day's Halloween. They say, why are you dressed like it's Halloween? You look so absurd, you look so obscene. This is now a karaoke stream. Thanksgiving is gonna be interesting, yeah. I mean, here people are sort of gearing up for Christmas. It's like, it doesn't have to be a super spreader event. You can just, it's not like you have to cancel Thanksgiving. It's just that you have to not invite a million people. You just have it with your family. There's no reason you can't eat all the turkey, like within the people that are already in your household. That is an upside if no one sort of cares what you're wearing. And honestly, not caring what you're wearing is also a personal choice. If you want to dress like it's Halloween every day, who's gonna stop you? You're an adult. You can do it. I like that you censored that. Yeah, this is now the T word is now the biggest curse in the English language. Forget about F bombs. No, it's the T word. I'm having bad posture. I should probably sit up straight. We don't say that word here. Well, at least Trump is going to be gone in 2 months' time. And I hope that everyone can then sort of cool off and stop being a dick to each other. I'd say this is going pretty well. It's going faster than I kind of thought it was, though I haven't been keeping track of how long I've been doing that. It feels like this feels like progress. Yep, that's yeah. I see you got that T word confusion resolved. I really hope that all the vaccines that are now looking quite promising are gonna get rolled out pretty quickly. I know that each of them has sort of a limited first production run, I suppose. But I hope that if several vaccines get the go ahead, then all of those first batches combined can be quite a lot of people, hopefully, maybe? And then we can go back to life. I have some concert tickets for May next year, and it could be too early. could end up getting canceled. But I hope that we get enough vaccines in time to make that a thing. Why is this thread so stuck? Please come out. That was big. Yeah, I think for full rollout it might take a year. But once you get the most vulnerable people protected, then COVID spread becomes a less serious thing. Because it's just gonna be like the people who are gonna die of it aren't gonna die of it anymore. So I think you can loosen restrictions fairly early on into the vaccination thing. And then as a larger percentage of the population gets vaccinated, you can sort of gradually lift everything. But hey, we've all made tons of predictions and had tons of expectations about this year. I mean, I remember in March being like, I wonder if this thing in September is gonna happen. I was like, lol, no, of course not. So maybe I'm wrong about the whole vaccine thing as well. Who knows what's gonna happen? Oh, that's good to hear, Shania. Go eat a mandarin. Every mandarin counts. Even eating the mandarin counts as something, honestly. When I feel low energy, I just sort of, well, I'm never particularly hard on myself regarding housework. Like, I'll be honest, my apartment is permanently in a state of disorder. But it's just me living there, so it's just getting on my own nerves. But when I'm really low energy and I feel like I have to do something about the housekeeping situation, it's really just about doing anything is better than doing nothing. So I'll just pick up one thing that's not where it's supposed to be, put it where it's supposed to be, and then reevaluate whether I want to do another thing. And it helps me to just get started instead of feeling like I need to complete the whole thing for it to count. Because that is a fallacy. Even 2 minutes is better than 0. Is this still about? Yeah, it's going pretty well. around lunchtime you moved to paddle laundry. Yeah. Every little thing counts. Like, good job. I find it also helps to do things in like super small chunks. Doing something for 3 minutes 3 times a day feels better somehow than doing it for 10 minutes straight once. So sometimes I just do the absolute minimum thing I can do of something and then just leave it again. Alright, the next bit is a bit chunky because it's got a couple of seam allowances in it, but we're nearly there! And then I can spend the whole night picking out these threads. Ugh. I swear I'm just gonna use chalk forever in the future. Aw, that's so cool. I mean, Tai Chi is really, like, low-key, so it's great to get a bit of movement in and a bit of a habit at the start of the day, I guess. My finger's getting kind of sweaty inside my thimble. This is awkward. I guess I should try a leather thimble sometime. He sounds like a pretty active type. If you get to 55 and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna lift weights. put up aerial silks when you move next time. Oh yeah, that seems like a really cool. I'm not sure, sport. Can I call it a sport? All right, have fun at your Discord tea party. I'll see you later. I'm probably here next week as well, doing, well, either Snapmaker things or sewing things, so I'll see you then. Really getting there now. I just need about 5 centimeters more hand stitching. Yeah, I think sport is a good word for what goes into it. I assume that that's what it referred to, yeah. That you have those, like, strips of fabric hanging from the ceiling that you'd, like, climb into and things. Virtual University, oh. Well, I don't mind if you skip my live stream. That is totally fine. I'm not entirely sure there will be a stream. Like, there probably should be, so I keep up the pace with doing my sewing work. But it's also likely that I will have set up the Snapmaker and need to figure out all the things. Or maybe it's printing something for hours and I can do sewing in the meantime. That would actually be good. Alright, getting to the end here, let's see if I can get a nice and tidy sort of finish on it. Get everything tucked in neatly. Get out all the threads that shouldn't be there. When I finish stitching this, I'm just gonna try it on to see how the collar looks, because this better be good or I'm gonna be upset. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. Like, this part has a ton of seam allowances and is soaked in fray check from last time. So it's not closing as smoothly as you would want it to. But I'll get there. Happy I've got a thimble. Yeah. Come on. I'm gonna need pliers or something to pull these through. Let's tie some knots. Tuck the thread inside. Alright, I have a collar. It's official. That looks pretty reasonable. Kind of good, actually. I'll be honest. I'm pleased with how it's sitting inside this seam now. That's pretty much what I wanted, and I can't believe that I didn't figure this out sooner. Alright. Oh yeah, pliers. Pliers is essential. I think there are also those like tiny sort of finger grip thingies, like so tiny silicone non-slip pads for your fingers to pull needles through. But honestly, pliers. Alright, let's put this thing on. Boop. The lighting is not great. Yeah, that didn't help. But I do feel that the collar is sitting pretty nicely. It's like, you know where you have that sort of dimple in the back of your skull? It's sitting exactly there, so I think it's not too bothered by my neck. And then I need to figure out how much this overlaps at the center, because I totally forgot. I think it's quite a lot, like 4 centimeters or something. So it's gonna sit something like this. I feel quite Regency in that. Yep. All right, buttons. How long have I got left? What time is it now? Almost time. Wow, the camera totally got tripped up by the change in lighting there. Whew. Anyway, let's see if I still have the pattern somewhere so I can figure out. I think I had a 4 centimeter overlap, but I don't strictly remember. Was it this one? This is just a base pattern. Where did I put this? This is the kid jacket. That's not it. Of course, I lost the pattern. Because I am a master of organization. No. Belongs that. I mean, I found the sleeve for the Pintuck shirt. Where the heck did all these pattern pieces? Did I already store it, maybe? Because there should be more crap lying around on the floor if I haven't. Let's see if I did. Maybe I was... What is this? Yeah, that looks like it. Wow! I was way more organized than I thought I was. And I should probably put a note in here saying waistcoat, because otherwise I'm never gonna figure out what's what. Wait, this is the center front, but it doesn't show how much I added. Did I just eyeball that when I cut the pieces? Nice that I made life so easy on myself. I tried it on so many times. I think the overlap is 4 centimeters. Wait, this does match up exactly with the thing that I cut. So this does include some extra. I just didn't draw where. Arguably, there's a piece taped on along here, which probably is where I cut the center front and then realized I needed an overlap and then tape that on. If that's 2 centimeters, I'm gonna bet that that's it. Yep. Okay, I taped on. I better mark that as well. Jeez. Never mind that thing I said about being more organized than I thought. This pattern is not usable for future me if I don't mark it properly. Center front. Check everything back in there. And then I need a piece of scrap paper. And write Darcy waistcoat. And chuck that in there. That's better. Okay, so 4 centimeters it is. Meaning that, let's see. Ooh, fashion history question. Or like, I don't know, accuracy decision-making question. Traditionally, men's buttons are coming in from the right, while women's buttons are coming in from the left. Since this is a men's waistcoat being made for a woman, what side should the buttons be on? I'm leaning towards 2 things. One is, it doesn't fucking matter because barely anyone knows this shit anyway. No one's gonna notice. And the other argument is that there's a subtle way to make some kind of statement there either way. Either I'm saying, screw you, this is a woman's garment. Use a zipper? Wow. Thanks, that's the solution I had to come up with. This is definitely an option. And then, there just won't be an overlap. I can just cut that out. It's fine. I feel that there's an option here to make a very subtle statement to people who do know about it. Where either I can say, no, this is not a men's garment. See, the buttons are coming in from the left. Or I can say, I know that this is tailored to fit a woman, but it is a men's garment. Just look, the buttons are coming in from the right. I feel like, and I don't even know what statement I want to be making. Yeah, it is definitely not purely a men's garment because clearly the cut is feminine. The style is men's waistcoat only because of historical fashion. Cut is feminine. I feel reasonably feminine. Oh, maybe there's an argument to be made that since I put the pocket here on the right, if I overlap the left onto the right, it gets kind of close to the pocket and it looks kind of weird. But if I overlap the right onto the left, the pocket gets a little bit more room to breathe. So in that case, it's a women's waistcoat. Yeah. No, I never intended for it to be a replica. I just intended for myself to look like some kind of female Mr. Darcy. Thus, the men's style waistcoat. But I feel like I can defend going either way, but I think this just looks nicer with the pocket. So yeah, screw the social commentary statement that I can make with it. It's just it's the pocket makes the decision now. Let's do it. All right, so let's mark where the did I put any button placements on the pattern yet? I feel like I tried spacing them out nicely at some point, but I might not have marked it on the pattern. There are some dots here, but they don't go all the way. I'll just lay them out on the jacket and take it from there. Okay, where are my buttons then? I had a bag of them here somewhere. This is a mess. Where's my buttons? Ah. So I think I've just got just enough time to like mark out where everything should go, and then it's enough for today. So I think that this is going to have a couple of buttons near the top that are not going to have, well, I'm going to put a buttonhole on the other side just to make it look like it makes sense, but they are not actually going to close because the center front sort of veers out towards the collar. So if I put a button here, it doesn't make any sense for that to close. But I'm going to put it there so you get that nice sort of continuous button feel. Let's see where... Ow. I put a bunch of pins in the hem because this fabric doesn't iron very well, and I just wanted it to stay put for a long time, so that would sort of stay in place. I think I'm going to put not all of them on it because that would be a lot. Though these waistcoats do tend to have a ton of buttons. I feel like this is enough. This looks busy enough. If I have to scoot them all over a little bit to fit an extra one in. I don't know. I think I like this better with the 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Then I'll have one spare in case I lose one, I guess. So let's put a number on that. How far apart is that? It's about 6.5 centimeters apart. Yeah. Thereabouts. So I'm going to start from actually this point, which needs to be marked on the pattern, which is the actual... I need to know where the center front starts deviating. Get this out of the way. So this is the point where it starts to curve. So that is definitely where the top button that actually closes should go. I'll just mark that. And then so these go... Actually, I shouldn't place these yet. I should do the buttonholes first. Because the edge of the buttonhole goes exactly on the center front. Well, and then these also go exactly on the center... Yeah, these go... These might go a bit further in or out, depending on how the buttonholes turn out. I don't know. I should be able to place these. But I feel like I want to do the buttonholes first. So just do button holes on this side, yes. Odd number of buttons is pleasing. That's good. I never paid attention to that, but it's probably correct. And then I'm going to just draw a line 2 centimeters in from the edge. It's a little bit, actually, it's rolling back a little bit, so I'm going to maybe pin all the button locations first, so the pins will help keep this folded over. All right, 6.5 from here. Six and a half from here. See, then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7 go above. Yeah, that makes sense. See if chalk, if I remember, chalk doesn't do too well on this fabric. I like marking buttonholes with chalk because marking them with thread and then having to pull that out is always annoying. Okay. And then the top two. And then I think it's dinner time. I'm not even sure if I'm going to put matching buttonholes for the top two buttons. Seems potentially kind of weird to have a buttonhole all the way up there when you're not going to use it. There might be some historic examples that I can look at to see whether that's a thing. I will look that up later. Because for now, I'm done. So, I guess to wrap it up, today I put buttons back on some broken pants. I removed a collar from a waistcoat and put it back on in a way that actually worked. And that was it. Not as much as I thought I was going to do, as always. But thanks for hanging out with me while I was doing it and, chatting with me and hanging out with me to give me some company. It helps me be productive. So next week, probably continue this, I guess. I've got tons of other stuff to do throughout the week, so maybe finally next week we're going to see the completion of the waistcoat. So thanks a lot for hanging out with me.